Hello, I am Mystic Orange and this is video hashtag 555. In this video, I'll be reviewing Winx Club Season 3 Episode 22. Before we get into this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe. So I'm back to talking about Winx Club again. I hope you guys enjoyed your Halloween. I certainly did. I'm also back to calling myself Mystic Orange again, since Halloween is over, and I've added like an orange emoji just for a nice touch. So in this video, I will be talking about episode 22, the Crystal Labyrinth. I was thinking maybe I could review both 21 and 22 because both of them are two-parters. But no, I just wanted to talk about 22 because I can't be bothered. So yeah. I mean, let's just talk about 22 anyway. And, there's important things to talk about this episode in particular. I was also maybe thinking about doing it by watching Unicorn of War video because Unicorn of War made a review of 21 and 22. I was thinking maybe I could do based on that, but I was like, no, let's just do how I usually do it. So no point of making surprises. So let's get on with talking about episode 22. So I want to talk about episode 22. There is a reason for that, though. I do have both positive and negative opinion about this episode. Not about this episode, but just about the ideas in this episode. So, in this episode, they're trying to retrieve water stars. So they can use it to defeat Valtor because, Water Star is opposite to Dragonfire, and it's a way to defeat Valtor. I mean, in the last episode, in episode 21, Tekna does bring some lore into this. So apparently, the Water Stars and Dragonfire are put in like a separate dimensions, so they can't be in the same dimension because they might clash with each other. I thought that was interesting because opposites, but I'm also interested in how Water Stars and Dragonfire are opposites. In the last season, I thought the Shadowfire and the Dragonfire was the opposite because they're supposed to represent like the Dragonfire is supposed to represent like creation, and the Shadowfire is supposed to represent destruction. Life and death, light and good. That's what I thought the Dragonfire and the Shadowfire supposed to be. I didn't know that the Dragonfire and the Water Stars were opposites. It's kind of confusing. Or maybe like the Dragonfire and the Shadowfire are in their own separate dimension, and the Water Stars is in its own separate dimension. But that makes me question then, like, if Water Stars are in separate dimension, what is its opposing thing? Or maybe it's a different thing because apparently, what we learn in this episode, the characters that are from this world are are outside of time or within the time. It's confusing. I do not understand. It's not very clear what they were on about. But I do have some issues about what's happening. It's not just this episode, it's more about the arc of the final season. I just think like they're using water stars to defeat Valtar, but spoiler alert, in the future episodes, they never use water stars to defeat Valtar. That's the reason why I'm like a bit I'm not negative with this episode, more like negative with the arc in general. It just affects the season in general. I've heard Unicorn of War mention it in their review, but yeah, I thought of about this as well even before. But yeah, and the fact that Unicorn of War also mentioned it, it just confirms my suspicion on this. Anyway, let's get into talking about this episode. In the first scene of this episode, we see that Riven and Nabu are tussling each other. Riven assumed that Nabu was the one who defeated the Winx and the Specialists, and he thought that Nabu was the one who made out with Misa. I mean, it is understandable. You'd think a wizard like Nabu would, defeat someone like the Specialists or the Winxers. Riven hasn't known Nabu until this point, but maybe the Winx and the Specialists, they share the info with each other off screen. We do not know. So maybe the Winx and the Specialists share their opinions about Nabu. Maybe they shouldn't trust him or something, or maybe they thought that Nabu was with Valtor. So it's understandable if Raven thought okay, Nabu is kind of he might be with Valtor, and he could have defeated the Specialist and Winx girls. So I think I can understand why Riven would think, Nabu could have defeated them. And I also think, based on the last episode, Flora did send a video where it looked like Nabu and Misa were making out. And he does see, Nabu, picking Misa up. I do not know, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Riven was a bit jealous of that, or suspicious that Nabi was making out with his girlfriend. But it looked like Nabi was going to look after Misa when she was injured. Shouldn't that put the suspicion off from Riven? But I do think it's odd that Nabi chose Misa out of everyone else. Everyone else is injured too. Why is he picking Misa? I don't know. I'm not saying I can justify River's action, but I can understand why he could have been suspicious of Nabi. Everyone was suspicious of Nabi at this point. So, but the guys do break the fight off with Nabi and Riven, and they all get along with each other. There is one thing I find annoying about this scene though. Misa is kind of happy that Riven took a battle for her. I just don't understand Misa's mindset in this episode. A few episodes ago, Misa didn't like Riven for some unknown reason. I do not why. But I don't understand what Riven did was kind of I don't understand. It seemed kind of toxic, and Misa accepts a guy just for because he fights for her. I don't know. I don't know if that's healthy or not. I'm just I'm just suspicious of Misa's taste in men. I don't know. I love Misa, but I'm kind of side eyeing her at this moment. In the next part of the scene, the Winx and the Specialist visit the Red Tower. They can't go in, they need to miniaturize to get in. The Winx use the fairy dust to miniaturize. I do think it's a problem that it's been this late that they've used this miniaturize. We're in episode 22. There are times where I feel like they could have used miniaturization in earlier episodes. For example, this is a big one. Remember that episode where they tried to save Sky and they had to come back from Heraklion to get to Althea? Why didn't Stella not use her miniaturization so she can enter Althea? Bloom, Misa, and Flora all could have gone before her, and then she could have gone. Then they would not get in trouble by Griselda. While the other wings can miniaturize, unfortunately Bloom cannot miniaturize because because her enchant is incomplete. She does have some bugs with her transformation. I mean, Fergonda did warn Bloom about possible limitations. In the next scene, we're at Valtor's hideout. He's making fun of the tricks for getting defeated by the pixies. He then sends the tricks off to defeat the Winx. I find it interesting that he entrusts the tricks to take down the Winx when they couldn't even take down the pixies. Like, why couldn't he recruit new members to his side, like how he did with Diospro, Cassandra, Chimera? He could have totally spell someone to do his evil bidding. He doesn't have to rely on the tricks all the time when they fail him all the time. I don't know why Walter doesn't take advantage of the gang's suspicion on Nabu. Why doesn't he not, I don't know, put a spell on Nabu, who is, like a good guy, but it, Walter could put a spell on him, and he could do something that's suspicious. As the Winx are inside the Golden Kingdom, the Winx seem to be enjoying their time inside. There's like a wave of light going past them, and they bounce in some cloud. It seems like they're enjoying their time. In the next part of the scene, we have my favorite part of this episode. We meet like a goblin kind of character. I think he's like a keeper or some tourist guide. He gives the wings some tour. I think I like this. First of all, I like the design of the goblin. He looks really cute, and yeah, the goblin kind of gives us like interesting information, like the first stardust, the first solar explosion, the first spell ever being cast. He also mentioned the first fairy we ever see, which is Arcadia. I think that's pretty interesting information. If Arcadia is the first fairy, then what forms of transformation does she have? Because she looks completely different to the Winx. We then meet the elders of Golden Kingdom. They look so cool. We have a Pegator, a mermaid, and an owlman. We also have Arcadia, the fairy of Golden Kingdom. She looks so beautiful. I find these mystical beings so fascinating. We have had these mystical beings before, like we have had the Ice Spirit from episode 4, and we also had Sage of Lymphia. I find these characters so cool. To prove they need water stars, Arcadia gives them a test to prove that they care about the whole world more than themselves. I don't understand why Layla or Flora couldn't have this test. Like, why was it only Stella, Techna, and Misa? Surely Layla and Flora have something to sacrifice. Outside the Golden Kingdom, the Specialist and Bloom, they all have like the moments together. I think it's all light-hearted and cute. It's nice to see these characters, just letting them hair down and just chatting with each other. Like we have a moment with Sky and Bloom. I'm not gonna lie, it was cute, but like they go over things we already know. Like we already know that Sky is no longer he's free from the astral spell. I thought we got over this. Like in that Omega episode, it feels like they're just repeating what we already know. But it was a cute moment. But then Nabu and Riven have moments together, and we have a little backstory about Nabu, which I find interesting. It's interesting, like, we have characters like Nabu getting a backstory, but we have characters such as Brandon and Timmy who still need a backstory. I mean, I get, Brandon's probably, a squire of Prince Guy, but we still don't know about him. And Timmy is we only know that his family is from Magic's. I think I remember in that Magic City episode in season 1, when that was Mother's Day, and I think they mentioned that like Timmy's parents are from Magix. I'm not sure where he's from. And I think Raven could do some backstory as well. Like I know that like he has like his mommy issues, but we don't go have enough about him either. I think we have a little bit of Helia backstory when we first introduced with him. Like, he has something to do with a Saladin, and I think he's like um, nephew. He's like the nephew or grandson of with Saladin. I'm not too sure. I think he is different in each job, but like, yeah. And apparently he's like a pacifist. He went to art school, but like I feel like the ones that get the most talked about is Sky, Helia, and Naboo. Um, I feel like Brandon, Riven, and Timmy they need some backstory for themselves too, because honestly, it seems like they're just like the Winx's boyfriends, but like they don't have enough characterization beyond that. Because like I still love these characters, but it would be nice if we had some depth with these characters. And I know I'm aware that like people ship Naboo and Riven together. I personally do not. I think I'm one of the rare people who feel like Naboo and Riven. I think they make good friends. I just don't see them as good relationship. Mainly because I feel like Riven himself, while I'm a bit more gentle with him, I still think he has issues. Like he is a toxic person. He barely got along with anyone, and like Riven and Nabu, they didn't get on with the first start. Like Riven was suspicious of Nabu. Like I don't know uh, if if Riven was like trying to attack me, like I wouldn't be like having romantically interested in him. Like I don't know. I mean, in some headcanon, I can see Nabu and Riven. If you want to ship that, I think it's fine. But I just feel like Riven himself, like, if he was a better person, I'd ship him with anyone. I feel like I'm seeing, like, it's you can ship bad boys, and I think I don't mind shipping bad boys with anyone. It's just driven himself individually. Like I'm trying to think of like Total Drama, and with Duncan from Total Drama, who is also a bad boy, I can totally see him like shipping him with anyone because yes, he is a bad boy. It's not like yes, he is a villain. Is as kind of character, but I still can like ship him, and like Duncan doesn't give me an ick. Like I know who he's about, and with Riven, like he's supposed to be the like on the Winx side, like, and it's a bit more different. And how Riven behaves throughout the whole series is it's hard for me to like ship with anyone. I'm also recalling back to like what I've seen in Ruby, like characters like Blake, who I feel like people ship Blake with Son or Yang. I personally I can see why they would ship Blake and Son, Blake and Yang. I am personally not a fan of the shipping between Blake and anyone else. Like, yes, she's been abused with by Adam, but I think how she presented herself in Volume 4 especially, she presented herself as a very toxic person. Like, and also how she presents with Yang as well. Like, it wasn't just Volume 4. She had sprinkles of it in like 2 and 3, where she was like rude to Yang for no reason, and she was kind of rude to Sun for no reason. So like when people tell me like, oh, they want to ship Sona and Yang with Blake, I just don't see it. Like I can see like the head canon wise, but canonically I just don't see it. And that goes with Riven with anyone else. Like it could be just my personal thing. Like I just don't feel like Riven needs to be in a relationship with anyone else. He just needs to work on himself, and then yeah. Anyway, the specialist and Bloom start playing some ball game with each other. It's one of my favorite moments in this episode. I just think it's so pleasing to see Specialist and Bloom playing something that's fun while the girls are doing something crazy. Also, did we need sexist Riven back? When Bloom was going to play the ball, Riven just didn't seem like he wanted Bloom to play with them. He just reminds me how some guys are just insecure when a girl beats them. If I was Bloom, I would burn his ass for being like that. But I do love how like Icy comes in the Focus version, where she's like taking mockery of that game. It's super funny. Like she just goes off with that scar thing. In the next part of the scene, Stella, Musa, and Tekna try to find their own way out of the maze. I think it would be logical to use Tekna's strategy the most. Like, first of all, she's the first person to find the destination. But, like, in any scenario, when you're going out of the maze, you would use Tekna's strategy, like going left and left again. Like, you're trying to use possible directions you've been in. I think both Stella and Misa's strategy would be flawed in real life. Anyway, Techno is given her test. She has to decide between both emotion or logic. But you know, the water stars is in the logical door, so she has to go through that. But that would mean she would give up on emotion forever and be logical forever. I think this is a good test for Tekna because, you know, her whole arc in this series and the whole show is that she wants to uh, wants to be more emotional and learn to be more emotional more often. And this is a testament that like she has grown so far that like now she has to give up on it. Like she sacrificed her whole the entire world because you know she based it on emotion, not logic, and now in this she has to give up on it. So you know she sacrifices that. I think this is a good test for a Techno. Back outside, the Tricks, the Specialist, and Bloom all battled it out with each other. I am impressed by Nabu's fighting strategies. Like, he counteracts with Darcy's illusion spells. There are some parts of the scene I find questionable. Like, the Sky and Timmy get in the funnel, and then, like, Sky says a line that I find, like, hilarious a bit. Like, he screams out to Timmy, grab my feet. I thought that was really funny. Like, out of context, that will sound weird. In the next part of the scene, Icy finally finds herself alone with Bloom. I find this scene funny because Icy kind of like reminisces about how she first encounters Bloom. Like she reminds us about season one where they like where she first put Bloom in ice. Do you remember episode two where the tricks would put Bloom in ice? And this bit makes me want to ship Icy and Bloom together sometimes. Maybe, like, you know, Icy has a little bit of a crush on Bloom, or maybe she a bit of a heat as well. Like, maybe this is why, like, Icy can't stop, attacking Bloom. She then makes Bloom powerless by using a crow. In here, I'm thinking like, even if Icy put Bloom in ice, Bloom could still take Icy down. Like, Bloom has experience of like being an Earth girl, so she should know like how she defeat Icy as a person without magic. In the next part of the scene, it's Stella's turn for the test. On the door of the right is a reflection of her face, beautiful as always. And on the door on the left is a reflection of her less desirable reflection of herself. The water star is behind the less desirable reflection. So she has to sacrifice beauty in order to like continue with the water stars. I mean, based on the context of Winx Club, I can understand why this is a less desirable look for Stella when it comes to Winx Club. But I personally don't mind the image. Of course, like, if it was a Winx Club, I can see why I can still like it. But you can tell this is looks like what a drawing looks like from an amateur perspective. But I do know that some artists use this style of art just because they prefer it that way, and that's totally fine as well. I, however, do have some issues with Stella's test. While I do think it's really important for Stella to, like, you know, beauty is important for Stella, and it's important for her to, like, overcome that fear of, like, losing her appearance. She has to make that sacrifice, I understand. And uh, I think I understand Stella's point of view. Like, beauty is really important to her, and I think she's definitely valid in like having this on her. My issue with this, I feel like she's doing another test she already did in episode 4. You know, that episode where, like, Stella was a beast and she had to, like, understand her true beauty, and that's how she broke free. I feel like she's relearning the same thing again over here. Like, in this situation, I can totally like validate Stella's situation here. I just don't think like for overall thing it just doesn't fit right here. In the next part of the scene, it's Misa's test now. And I think out of all of these, I think we can agree that Misa's sacrifice was the most emotional one of them all. So for Mrs. Test, in one door would be she can revisit with her mother once again. But in the second door is the water stars. So basically, she has to sacrifice being with her mother and saving the universe with the water stars. I think this is so sad for Misa because I feel like for Misa, more than anything in the world, she wants to be with her mother and, talk to her, sing to her. That's all she wants behind the door. It's sad, but that's the thing with her sacrifice. Would she want to be spend the rest of her life with just her mother and sacrifice that for the rest of the world that who needs saving and probably are going to look after her more? I bet, like, with the rest of her friends, they would able to look after Misa more than her mother, I believe. But she does want to be with her mother, but it's a shame. But they do need the water stars in order to defeat Voltor and save everyone. I do have an issue with this scene though. It's not about this particular, but I feel like Misa's one was really the one that I feel was most emotional. Like not saying that Tekna and Stella's going through their door was like isn't emotional, but I feel like with Misa, you cutting her with a real life situation where like she can't have her mother back. I think I'm trying to reflect this with her like real life people. Like I'm not going to discredit like Stella and Texna what they're going through and how they want to like overcome their sacrifices. Misa has to sacrifice one thing that's the important to her, and that's her mother. Like I think I'm not speaking to for anyone else, but I can understand if you're like someone who has lost someone. I think that's a very hard thing for someone. So yeah, I can totally see how. Like, I sympathize with Musa a lot in this situation. So in comparison, I feel like Musa's sacrifice felt more like important than Tekna and Stella. So you know. But I do have like an issue with the arc in general, with regards to the water stars, in regards to like Misa's sacrifice. So they think like they need the water stars to defeat Valtar, who is trying to like destroy the whole world. Um, Spoiler alert: they never used the water stars to defeat Valtar. I mean, like looking at 23 to 25, they do use water stars, but I remember like in episode 25, Valtor did get hold of the water stars. Remember with his like that trinket thing, and just he had a hold of it. So obviously they couldn't able to use water stars to defeat him. The Winx, fought together to defeat Valtar, and in the last episode of season 3, all Bloom had to do is learn what she learned from Pyros, and then like use her fairy dust to defeat Valtar. I feel like she could have done that at any point in season 3. I mean, not to like discredit Bloom or anything. I feel like I'm more like discrediting this season in general, not in particularly like the last few episodes of season 3. I just think the writers haven't thought this through. Like they were set out to use water stars to defeat Valtar, but now they don't use it. I think they should have utilized the water stars a bit more. Like, if they were gonna make this a big deal, they should have used the water stars. Otherwise, I feel like Misa, she did this for nothing. Misa, Tecna, Stella, I feel like they made these sacrifices for nothing. All Misa could have done is like go in the thingy with her mother. All she wanted to do, and and they didn't have to use the water stars. Bloom could have saved everyone by defeating Valtor. I'm more I'm more skeptical about the arc, not just like this particular episode in general. That's just my main issue, really. But unfortunately, I think they all. I think Misa, Tekna, and Stella they did a great job in their arcs in this episode. I also do feel like Layla and Flora also could have added their test on. I just feel like, as a whole, the writers didn't really think this through about the water star and everything. Not just like who has the task, but the law in general as well. Like how water stars is apparently opposing force of the dragon fire. But I thought like shadow fire was the opposing force of the dragon fire. I don't think they really thought this through. I mean, season three is the second best season for me after season two. But yeah, the writing flaw is easy to recognize. And in the next scene, the Winx finally retrieve the water stars. It looks so pretty, each of them. And Arcadia returns back Techna's emotions, and she brings back Stella's locks again. But however, she couldn't able to bring back Misa's mom again, which I do think is understandable. Like Misa has to learn to grow without her, and she has to learn to live her life. And besides, she has her friends beside her to support her anytime she wants. So she doesn't have to have her mother around. She will always be inside Misa's heart. And the next part of the scene, the Waves come to save Bloom, and they blast the tricks using the convergence. It definitely was hilarious to see them blast the tricks. It was giving me Pokemon vibes, where like they're blasting off Team Rocket again. After getting defeated by the Winx, the Tricks are worried how this would go down with Valtor. Like, Valtor will be so mad. However, Stormy has a ridiculous idea. She thinks she could lie her way out by saying that the Winx ran away. Even if this was true, this will be a stupid reason not to get the Winx. Anyway, that's it for this video. I've finished reviewing this episode. It's time to summarize what my favorite moments are, as well as my least favorite moments are. I think my favorite moment is in the Golden Kingdom, where we are meeting these like elders, the Goblin, Arcadia, and the other elders. I think they were fun, and I also think that Misa's test was the most sad one out of them all. So I would say those are my favorite moments of this episode. I think my least favorite moment about this episode is the fact that both Flora and Layla don't get the test for this episode, and that's about it. At least from this episode. Anyway, that's it. I have no plans in reviewing the next three episodes, like episode 23 to 25. I think I'm just going to review the finale of Winx Club Season 3. And I guess that's over for Winx Club. Like, just for now at least. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and have a lovely day.